My friend's mom likes to catcall him, and it makes me uncomfortable. I never expected to catch my friend and his mom in action. So, I have a friend, Todd, who is super chill and is the type of guy who can get along with anyone. He always says it's thanks to how his mom raised him into such a likable person. But whenever she comes around, she looks at him and treats him more like a boyfriend than a son. When she spots us out at the park or picks us up from school, she greets us in weird ways like, "Hey there, hunks." One time after football practice, she dropped us off at a buffet and said with a wink, "I like a man who can eat. Eat well, boys." A part of me felt like she was maybe having fun and trying to be a cool mom, but another part of me felt like their relationship was stepping on boundaries I never thought I'd have to think about. My suspicions were confirmed when one day we were out on our spring break trip to the beach, and his mom joined us as a chaperone. We spent the day at the beach playing volleyball, and Todd paused the game a few times to help reapply sunscreen on his mom. I found it weird, but everyone else thought they were sweet for being so close to each other. But they had no clue exactly how close Todd and his mom really were. We spent the rest of the evening in our rooms just relaxing until lights out. Late at night, Todd snuck out of our shared room to go have late-night drinks with his mom. I snuck out and secretly followed him, too curious to fall asleep. There, I sat at a table far away in the shadows of the bar and began panicking while I watched him put his arm around her and suddenly lean in for a kiss. Before it could happen, I jumped out and approached them yelling, "No, absolutely not!" I yanked Todd out of his seat, and he scrunched up his face looking angry and confused, asking me what I was doing there at the bar with them. I pointed at his mom, who appeared shocked and teary-eyed, and asked, "What the heck, dude? Why were you about to kiss your mom?" Todd stared at me for a moment while his expression changed from angry to calm before bursting into laughter. He pointed his mom's red eye and said, "Look, she has an eyelash that's really irritating her." I leaned in to blow some air into her eye to help it go away. I felt really embarrassed, realizing that I may have jumped to conclusions, but I wasn't fully convinced, and asked about him putting his arm around her shoulders. He explained that they were taking a selfie, so he leaned in closer. I just happened to be at an angle where I couldn't see the phone. He picked up his mom's phone and showed me the picture they had just taken, which seemed perfectly normal. At that point, I was too embarrassed to stay with them any longer. I apologized and walked quickly back to my room. I couldn't believe I had gotten things so wrong, but in my eyes, they were being really sketchy. In the morning, I woke up early and went to the breakfast buffet on my own, letting Todd sleep in after staying up so late drinking. I immediately saw Todd's mom sitting alone at one of the tables. I grabbed some food and joined her, apologizing again for the confusion. She laughed it off and smiled sadly, looking into the beachfront. She said in a soft voice, "Todd grew up looking just like his dad. I miss his dad a lot, you know." She looked at me just as the sunlight hit in her eyes in a way that took my breath away. In that moment, my heart actually skipped a beat, seeing clearly how beautiful she looked in the sun. She was in her 40s but barely looked like she was above 28. I chugged down my water and nodded, casually asking, "What was he like?" "Todd's dad." She thought about it for a second and said, "Personality-wise, he was a funny overthinker. In fact, he was kind of like you." She giggled and stared back at me with a slight smirk that made my face turn red. I walked away after blurting out some lame excuse, embarrassed by the realization that all this time I felt uncomfortable around Todd and his mom because I was in love with her.